You ever have one of those days that just upend everything you thought you knew about yourself, your family, even the city you once called home? Yeah, that happened to me. Let me back up a sec. I'm Elaine Johnson, retired nurse. 70 if you count the years, 40 of them spent in the chaos and grace of Chicago Memorial's ER. I thought nothing could rattle me anymore. Turns out, I was wrong. It started somewhere over the Midwest, 30,000 feet up, my hands wrapped tight around my handbag like it was a life vest. I hate flying. Planes, always feel a bit like rolling the dice with gravity metal birds defying sense and statistics. But there I was, dressed up in the navy blue my son Marcus likes, headed back to Chicago after 23 years, called by ghosts I'd try to outrun. The attendant asked if it was my first time flying. No, honey, I told her, just never got used to it. She smiled that airline smile, bright but practiced, and moved on. Out the window, the Mississippi shimmered like a scar, cutting through memories I'd packed away. See, I left Chicago in '88 in the dead of night, my late husband James at the wheel, Marcus in the back, barely out of diapers. The only thing James ever told me was, we stay away from the Reeds. We leave Chicago for good. He never explained why. I respected that until Marcus called yesterday, said the bank found a safety deposit box, papers and photographs Dad never mentioned. So, here I was flying straight into the past, nerves raw, heart pounding. Then the chaos hit. A commotion up in first class, a man, slumped and convulsing, a Rolex flinging shards of light across the ceiling. Is there a doctor on board? Medical emergency, the flight attendant cried, panic cracking through the comm. I didn't think, just moved. I'm a retired nurse, I told the crowd, voice still carrying the weight of old authority. Give him space. I knelt beside him, his body rigid, his breath shallow. His face I recognized it, even distorted by pain. Jackson Reed. The Jackson Reed. Movie star, 3-time Oscar nominee, tabloid legend. His eyes rolled white as sheets as I checked his pulse, ran down the symptom seizure, maybe a bad drug interaction. He started coming back, confusion flickering in those famous blue eyes. Where am I? He slurred. You're on Continental 2187, Chicago bound, I said, calm as I could. You just had a seizure. Any history of this? He tried to shake his head. Started a new anxiety med. This morning, took Ambien last night. I nodded, already piecing it together. Seen that mix go wrong before, especially at altitude. You're going to be okay, Jackson, but we'll need to keep an eye on you till we land. The attendants moved him to a private space. I sat with him, monitoring. The two of us suddenly dropped into the kind of intimacy that happens between strangers when the usual boundaries of life fall away. I ruined your flight, he joked, still embarrassed, trying to reassemble the mask of the celebrity. Nothing's ruined, I told him. Just glad I was here. He asked where I was headed, told me he was surprising his daughter. Hadn't seen her since the divorce, father living in Hyde Park. I didn't mention my ghosts, just said I was visiting family. But I saw in him something familiar, a man carrying pain that doesn't let up, regrets wrapped tight around his heart. After we landed, as medics let him off the plane, Jackson pressed his card into my hand. Not the public one. My real number, he said, voice serious. If you ever need anything, call me. I just nodded, not knowing how my life and his would tangle before the week was out. Marcus was waiting for me at baggage claim, all uniform and easy smiles, grown up but still my boy. We hugged, him asking how the flight was. I just said, eventful, and left it at that. We drove through rain-slick Chicago, my mind racing with what Marcus had found. When we got to his apartment, he handed me an enveloped Dad's box from a bank. You want to see what's inside? He asked. I emptied it out, hands shaking old Polaroids, medical licenses, and then a newspaper clipping, Memorial Hospital doctor arrested in death of patient. A black woman named Gloria Mitchell, dead on the table. The surgeon arrested but released DR. William Reed. That name hit me like ice. The Reeds. The ones James had feared. Then a letter, James's handwriting, shaky but strong. Will, I can't be part of the cover-up. Gloria died because you came to surgery drunk. I won't testify against you, but I won't lie either. I'm leaving medicine. I'm leaving Chicago. My heart broke all over again. James had been a doctor, not an accountant, all those years of secrets for our safety. Next day, after a long, sleepless night, I dressed in my best and drove with Marcus to Hyde Park, invited by Jackson Reed, who wanted me to meet his father. The Reed house was a palace, everything polished, expensive, untouchable. Jackson met us at the door, looking better, thanked me again, then led me out to the garden, where his father waited. Dr. William Reed, the man who'd haunted my marriage. Tea was a chess match, polite words edged with history. William tried to play the gracious host, but the past kept leaking through. I set the old Polaroid on the table, James and William grinning in white coats, young and unbroken. William's hand shook as he picked it up. James, he whispered. I always wondered what happened to him. I confronted him with a newspaper clipping with James's letter. Jackson and his daughter Zoe watched, silent, the air electric with tension. William broke down, confessed to everything: drinking on duty, killing Gloria, his family's influence scrubbing it all away. James refused to lie, left medicine, fled the city. Jackson listened, stunned, then admitted he'd found Marcus before but never connected the dots. And then, Twist Jackson revealed the TV project he was developing, a series about the cover-up, about the cost of silence, consulting Gloria's surviving sister, Ruth. He wanted the truth out, redemption, justice, legacy, all tangled together. William hesitated, torn between fear and duty. Zoe demanded a seat at the table, said this was her legacy too. We agreed if the show went forward, there'd be a foundation in Gloria Mitchell's name, a memorial at the hospital, a public apology from William, and my family would have veto power over our story. But there was more evidence. James had hinted at more proof: documents, statements, a recording hidden somewhere safe. Marcus remembered. Dad's time capsule, buried under the old oak tree in Memphis. We traveled there, dug it up, and sure enough, inside was everything: charts, nurse statements, a tape, and a letter from James explaining everything. Not for revenge, but for restoration, he wrote. Not to destroy, but to heal. Those were his final wishes. We shared the evidence with Ruth, the Mitchell family, the hospital. The story went public: scandal, then reform. William made his apology. The foundation was set up, the memorial unveiled. Gloria Mitchell, no longer a footnote, but a name in bronze, her legacy honored, her truth told. And through it all, the circle closed. Pain transformed, secrets bared, healing begun, not just for the families involved, but for a city, a hospital, a community. The reward for saving Jackson's life that day wasn't money, or even gratitude. It was the chance to write a new ending for a story that had been buried in silence for far too long. You know what I mean? Sometimes the truth comes tumbling out in the most unlikely ways: a seizure on a plane, a box in the dirt, a letter written decades ago. If this story meant something to you, if it made you think about justice or forgiveness or the ways we inherit pain, encourage a like, subscribe. Join the conversation. What would you have done in my shoes? Is justice ever too late? Or does truth always matter, no matter how much time has passed? I'd love to hear your story, too.